All right, buddy. Welcome to Arsenal Fan Circle. Pull up a chair. You're all welcome here. And it is not the Sunday show. It is the Monday show. 27 hours hence than we usually do this, but that's because of Arsenal, right? And
Yep.
want to welcome Tony and Stan here. How's everybody been doing over the Christmas period?
I'm doing all right. Looks like I got Jesus or heaven behind me or something going on. I'm not sure.
Arsenal needed a little bit of that today, Stan.
Yes. Yeah. Good
Divine
one. Stan.
intervention. Divine intervention. All right. What are we gonna do here? Yeah, here we go. Arsenal, Arsenal hammer home. Arsenal hammer home advantage. Okay, Arsenal top of the league, and we're celebrating that. We're 7 points clear of the league, 7 points clear of Newcastle now. Newcastle sneaked into that second position, and we wait. We wait for what Manchester City are going to do on Wednesday, but today was almost a tale of two halves. You know.
Almost.
You want to start us off, Tony, with the starting lineup? We got Saliba. I guess the only question, Tony, was Saliba, if he would come in or if Holding was going to come in.
Yeah, that was pretty much the only thing. I mean, they had all the data on all the players on how much they practice and all that. So I guess the data showed that Saliba was ready to go, which he should have been since he only played 23 minutes.
Thunder Road said we get both Ray and Gary shows on the same day. Is this a first? Yeah, it may well be a first.
I don't think so. I think you've probably done some Saturday pre games before,
It's
Gary.
the beginning of the Monday Night Wars.
As long as I'm not working, you know what I mean, and Arsenal are playing on a Monday, we could do this. But I don't think both those stars will align too much. Stan, what were your thoughts on the opening? When we got the lineup, so of course it was. Would it be Rob Holding, or would it be William Saliba?
And I thought it was the lineup. The lineup that we saw was the one that I thought that we would get. I thought Big Bill Saliba would play if he was able. You know, as long as he was able to stand upright, I think Mikel would have played him because he's been very impressed with him. And you know, his rash challenge, which led to a soft, you know, notwithstanding the soft penalty, I thought he had a very good game. To be fair. And, you know, seeing that this is a game where people were worried about, you know, what's it going to be like having a big break, which we've never had before. To me, it kind of felt like it was, you know, normal service is now resumed. You know, we just kind of, for me, we seem to have picked up just from where we've left off. So, you know, I'm sure that we're going to get onto some individual performances a bit later.
Yeah.
But, you know, big up Eddie and Ketia, puff out your chest, man, you know?
Yeah.
That this is what we want to see. So when I see people on Twitter saying, "Where are the haters now?" I think to myself, "Well, that's such a bad take." You know, it's things aren't so black and white. And you know, with people like us who come on podcasts and all the other various podcasts, you know, we are going to discuss players that are going through a bad run of form. Doesn't mean that we're hating, and I'm sure that everybody out there is willing the guy on. I mean, I was watching him very keenly today, and every time he got the ball, I just wanted him to do something. And for him to get onto the score sheet today can only give him a lift. You know, it's his first game in, starting in the season to deputise for Gabriel Jesus, and he's got one on the board. You can't ask for anything more than that.
No, I thought he would have some kind of involvement today, whether it would be a goal or an assist, and I did wonder. I suppose I wondered at halftime, or maybe at the end of the game, Stan, do you think, and I'll put this question to you, Stan, first, and then Tony, do you think what we saw in the first half was the team trying to adjust to the way Eddie needs to play? Because Eddie and Gabriel Jesus are going to be slightly different profiles of players.
Yeah, I think there could have been a little bit of that, but also as well, maybe it just took the team as well, you know, a little bit of time to just get into the groove a little bit after having such a long break and only really having, you know, those friendlies with not everybody participating in those friendlies. So, you know, I mean, I have to admit, I was kind of nodding off a bit in the first half, and that was just due to Turkey overdose, you know, not because I was bored or anything, but, you know, all in all, I thought it was a very good game. And one of the things that I noticed in this game was that when we lost the ball, who was so quick to get possession back, the,
Yeah,
win the ball back so
like
quick,
Tony.
and that's something that I really like to see.
Yeah, definitely. I'll put the same question to Tony then as well. Season's greetings from the assembled. Not looking too bad. I'm glad Wenger got a good reception. First game back for Arsene Wenger, and he probably was sitting in the stands thinking, "I don't want to be remembered as coming back. Arsenal's flying, and there's a
Jinx it.
slight hiccup."
I
Jinxing
mean,
What?
exactly.
isn't it crazy that it takes him that long to come back though?
You know,
Somebody that was
he didn't want to be that person in the stand. You look at Manchester United, you see Alec Ferguson. The cameras always go back to Alec Ferguson, and they're stuck in that rut of that regime for
yeah,
10 years now or
And
yeah,
Alex
more.
Ferguson was there from the first game. The first week after he left, he was sat in the stands near enough. Do
Hmm.
you know what I mean? It's like he never kind of gave it any breathing space. He's been a permanent fixture.
Yeah,
And even when even when Ronaldo was supposed to go to Man City, it was Ferguson that was the one that got on the phone to him and got him to commit to Man United. So he still has that spectre over Old Trafford. But
yeah,
I think it was at some point Arsene Wenger was going to come back, and rightly so. You
yeah,
know, he's one of the best football managers we've ever had. There's a big shout that you could say he has been our best manager.
yes,
And
yeah,
some of the football that we've seen under him. So I thought, he's going to come back at some point. And it was good that he got a good cheer and he was having a look, he was waving to the crowd in acknowledgement, and that's how it should be.
yeah. And
But can I say
listen,
another thing? You know what it is? It's 3 years today. Actually, isn't it? It's two anniversaries, right? Isn't it 2 years for the podcast? Right? Isn't it? I saw you put a
four
tweet out.
4 years.
4 years, 4 years for the podcast,
Hmm.
but it's also today. It's 3 years since Mikel Arteta took over as
Yeah,
Arsenal manager,
yeah,
and what 3 years it's been. It doesn't feel like 3 years to me. It feels a lot. It feels shorter. But looking at where we are now to where we were, and the journey along the way, and it was so close. I feel at times with Mikel Arteta could have almost got moved on. And if you remember, I used to have my balancing scale, my percentage. I mean, I was up to a point where I myself was up to a point where 90% I wanted him to leave, 10%
mm,
I was still in favour, and he's managed to work his way back down into the pluses now.
yeah.
So fair play to him.
Now, I think you and I were pretty much just on the same scale, Stan.
Yeah, I was
On
never
this
like a
one,
definitive Wenger,
we
Arteta
never
in or
said,
Arteta out.
yeah, yeah,
I was trying to take it over periods of time, over chunks, putting in windows, seeing how he improved, trying to sort of like look at it as pragmatically as I can, because I never like to move a manager on very
mm,
quickly. I don't want a revolving door because that means another rebuild, So
which
I
means
wanted him to succeed. So I'm glad that he
we,
did.
over the course of the 4 years that we've been doing this podcast, and even the 3 years that we've seen all that Mikel Arteta has done for the club, and let's not get it wrong, he's done a lot for the club, from the club, for the club, from that first. Go back to that first interview. I've heard people say this, and I go back and watch Mikel Arteta's first interview, and
Oaks and trees.
everything he's promised to do, Stan, he's followed through and he's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, he's given that tree a hell of a shaking.
Yeah, the tree
There's
has
no
been
there's no
shaken
leaves left.
at times. The tree has been shaken at times, and you know, we came in on this
And he said
podcast.
about getting everybody on board the boat. There's so many people on board now. We need an ocean liner.
Yeah,
We need a bigger boat. The man said in Jaws.
and I think Arsene Wenger is there. Not that Mikel Arteta could stop him, but Mikel Arteta has actually encouraged Arsene Wenger to come back to the stadium and be part of the atmosphere and part of the building. I know we disagree on the opening anthem, the Angel song. I know we
Yeah,
disagree on that one.
we do.
I'm all in favor of anything that's going to get the atmosphere going to the point of where we lose a goal and our fan base is not.
See, I actually think it was the as they came out for the second half and they over the loudspeaker system they were playing Triple H's theme tune, the game sung by Motorhead. I think that's what G'd the team up. But there you go.
Yeah, we can differ on things, but as long as we win, it's all smiles here. And I think Mikel Arteta has done a lot. But listen, let's get to the game
The game.
It's the
So I was
game.
going to
There
spit
was
out
a
some
game.
water. Sorry.
And that a couple of other anniversaries as well. You will have heard me over the last couple of years talk about December 26, 2020, when we beat Chelsea 3-1 after near relegation form for 3 months under Aubameyang. And that's when the team started to click for me into that new year 2 years ago. And we've not we've not sailed into top four. Last season we didn't sail in top four, and I thought we were missing Zinchenko, we were missing Gabriel Jesus today, and parts of our team looked like what we were last year, a year ago, without that experience, without that battle hardened nous from Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko, especially. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree.
And we have talked about this, Stan, as well. Putting Eddie and Kedia in the second team
Mm.
doesn't help him. But if you transplant Eddie and Kedia with 10 other first teamers into the first team, you're going to get eventually over the long run, you're going to get something from him.
Agreed, but he has spent a lot of time in that first team this season because he's been
Mhm.
coming off the bench nearly in every game.
Yeah.
So he trains with these guys. He has played with them. So I don't think there is any reason to say that there's a little bit of distance and sort of getting used to. I think that they should. He is he is part of the first team.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think part of today was the first half being bad. For me, the first half was, I was enthralled in the first half. I was ready to see Arsenal play again. Welcome Stephen Denham, welcome Thunder Road, welcome Mr. Tom, and everyone else is here. The
Yeah.
Arsenal
Happy
Misfits
Boxing
Stephen.
Day, guys.
This match was too Spursy for me. Crap first half and a great second half. I was into the first half, but when we scored those three goals in the last 15 minutes, 3-1, I relaxed a little bit. For me, I kind of dozed off in the last 15 minutes then.
Oh, I perked up because I thought there was a chance that we might have got a fourth. But like what you were saying about Eddie, sometimes you can have people saying, "Oh, well, the striker of a team, he's not getting any service." But if a striker's not getting himself in the right positions, he's not going to get the pass.
Hmm. Yeah, I
And
thought.
sometimes you find that the play then goes through and past the striker because he's not getting himself in the right places and the play is just moving past him. And there was sometimes I think in the first half where that was happening a little bit to us and with Eddie.
Yeah.
The play was moving a little bit faster and beyond Eddie, but where he'd come too deep at times in searching and that they weren't playing at the right sort of tempo together. But his goal was good, really good goal. I mean, Eddie's back to goal, the
Hmm.
turn and the shot that he took. Jesus, I'm
Roll.
surprised he didn't
Yeah.
like burst the net.
So I was also thinking about what you had said before, Stan. Which is the easier part for a striker, getting into those positions or the actual finish? Which is the more difficult part?
I think it very. I
I'm
think
coming
it.
around to think the finish is more difficult now.
You see, I've said it before that I've always felt that it depends on the situation, right? And I'll use an example with Eddie, and it was I can't remember what the game was, but somebody lobbed the ball over from the defense or the deep midfield, and it went over right over the midfield, and Eddie was out on the left hand side, and he had to bring the ball down, control it, and take it on and go past the player, and he did that. That which for me looked like that was the hardest part for him to do,
Hmm.
and he
Hmm.
literally plucked the ball out of the air and got it under control, went past the man that was there, and now it was just him and the keeper. So in a situation like that, for me, I still stand by my comment that he's done the hard part.
Right.
But there are other situations, don't get me wrong, where there are some fantastic goals where it's like, how did he, how does a player score that? So I
Um,
get it. It depends on it can depend on the situation.
not to pick on Liverpool too
But
much,
today,
but
I mean, look at his awareness today to have your back to goal and have a man around you and to be able to turn and get that little bit of wriggle room
yeah,
and blast it into that
yeah,
bottom corner to leave the goalkeeper hardly no way to get down to it. That was a good goal.
yeah. These are the situations that Liverpool striker Darwin Nunes he's struggling with these kind of opportunities. And when Eddie had the opportunity, a clear side of goal, he was able to find that corner, and that's a striker's finish right there. And Darwin is snatching a little bit. Um, So, but we did talk about Eddie on the Thursday night forum. The table is set for him. We said Gabriel Jesus is going to be on the sidelines. He knows he's going to be the main man now, and he knows he's going to get the lion's share of minutes for the next 8 to 10 weeks. And it's debatable. Some people say we'll see Gabriel Jesus back in February. I don't think so. I think we'll more likely to see him in March. And some people think we'll see him in March, like me.
Well,
But
he's got to get his sharp. But once you get fit, that doesn't mean that's it. You can just go for 90 minutes. You've got to get up to sharpness again. But I truly believe that all of the pundits out there today, no matter what channel it was, whether it was whoever was showing it, BN, Sky, no matter what, I reckon that the pundits today came armed with two scripts. The first
of
script,
course, yeah.
right? The first script, right, was that if we didn't get it today, if we had lost today, then it would have been, you know,
Same
yeah,
old Arsenal.
they've done really well up until this point, and yeah, they're definitely going to have to, look into the transfer market for another striker. The other scriptures, which is what I heard after the match, which is like the football, the football was unbelievable, and then like literally drooling into their
Pretty
microphones
football.
and like giving us so many superlatives, and it's almost reminiscent of the Arsene Wenger days, and don't get me wrong, it's nice to hear all of that, but I don't even need that. I don't need that. Do you know what I mean? There's a job to be done.
Yeah, the narrative at halftime stand, and for everybody in the chat box as well, was Arsenal. There's Arsenal again playing their pretty football, but there's no end product. And for me, the first half was dire in terms of actually having chances, clear cut chances. We weren't able to execute or engineer any clear cut chances. We had a lot of low block against us, and we found it hard to break them down. And the chances we did have in the first half were scuffed chances, not clear chances. And so that was the first half narrative from the media, and rightly so. Second half, things opened up, and we were able to play our football.
I
Like,
think Martin Odegaard as well. Hi, Gary. Welcome, mate.
Hello, hello.
I,
Right.
I, I thought Martin Odegaard was really pulling the strings and keeping the tempo going today.
yeah, yeah.
You
Um,
really see how important he is to that team today.
So Craig AFC 87 is here as well. Welcome, Craig. Eddie Nketiah, I believe not. He doesn't have to carry this team. He just has to pull his own weight and weigh in with a few goals and a few assists here and there. Um, I estimate if he gets 5 or 6 goals while Gabriel Jesus is out, then that's a good contribution from Eddie. Gary, what's your thoughts? Newcastle are flying high. I definitely agree. I'm worried about Newcastle and the way we played in the first half. I would be a little bit leery about playing Newcastle in the next couple of games. What are your thoughts, Gary?
Yeah, no, we came out really slow in that first half. As I was telling Ryan in the back room after the watch along, it was like we were waiting for the game to come to us as opposed to just taking the game to West Ham. And eventually they got what they wanted. They didn't. They would have been okay with a 1-0 win if we kept playing the same way we did. But we changed. I think we changed things up in the second half, and there was no need to change any plays. I think we just needed to play better, and we did. I mean, we can pick and kid if we want to, but I think everybody in our attacking side of the field was poor in that first half. Everybody. I mean, if you look what happened in the second half, everybody contributed in that front line, right? Everybody in the front line contributed. Everybody
All
behind
three.
them contributed,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you've got
Yeah.
assists from Erdogan and Xhaka in the game, right? And your front line scores. This is what you want. This is what we expected. It's going to be a team effort,
Solid.
and
Yeah, solid.
team effort.
Uh-huh.
Everybody picks up the slack for Jesus. You saw Nketiah in the second half coming back, supporting and getting up into the box. I mean, we needed that in the first half. We weren't getting that in the first half from everybody, including Nketiah. I think he had the turn that he did to score in the first half. He never felt the defender, and he gave the ball away a little bit too easy there early in the first half. In the
Yeah.
second half, he made sure he got a hold of that defender, controlled the defender, and was able to get the score. So, you know, I think it's all there for us, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Mr. Tom said at halftime the fans were angry and had decided we were going to lose. I think I can speak. I mean, you guys can speak as well, but looking at what we have coming up, we've got difficult away game to Brighton. We're flying. We're going to play Newcastle the next game. Just
Can I ask you guys a quick question?
We're flying too. Yeah.
When we went 1-0 down, were you guys worried, or were you confident that we would dig ourselves out of it? Because for
Both.
me, right, for me, and it's been a while now, I was confident that we were going to dig our way out of it because we've done it quite frequently in recent times.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of like, oh, but I wasn't like, oh, it's fucking over, that's it now. I was like, no, we can still get something out of this for sure.
Gary.
Yeah, no, they that's the only way they were going to score on us in the game. We gave them nothing. We barely gave them anything. All right, Antonio was being a pest like he usually is, but outside of that, I think they got a little bit of love on Tierney's side, but otherwise they got nothing really. They got nothing. So, yeah, as Stan said, the goal wasn't the issue. It was the fact that we hadn't scored was more the issue, and we should have scored in that first half somehow, some way. We didn't get when we should have gotten I think it was a penalty in that first half. They never even looked at it, right? When they brought down a player, I think it was in the box. I think it was, and I think that's what happened there. But the goals weren't going. They came out to bully us, right? I mean, you got Rice with two. Could have been a yellow for him early in the game, but he didn't. He was getting away with stuff. So, nah. The goal going down a goal meant absolutely nothing. I was more concerned about how we were playing and what they had scored.
Well, remember, guys, we had that goal that was marked off, which was a good goal, as for the movement and the play that we played. It was marked off, so I was fairly confident that we were gonna put the ball in the back of the net. I just wasn't sure whether Eddie would get on the score sheet. Do you know what I mean? I thought we would win, and it would be one of those games where we win maybe 2-1, and Eddie hasn't scored or assisted, and there's that little cloud hanging over that. So I'm so glad that's not the case.
To answer your question, Stan, I was thinking this was an adversity test. I think you have to take everything as a test. If you go goal down, you have to test your credentials. If we're going to be fighting for a Premier League title or just fighting with the other three teams for a top four, what's it going to be? We're going to push on and win this game after being a goal down or not? And I thought it was an adversity test. You always have those games where you shoot 20 times, but you don't score.
Yeah, we've had a lot of those.
There's always those games, and you have to be ready for the fan base when we do lose a game. But I thought it was a big test of our credentials, and we did come out and turn it around very quickly in 15-minute spell in the second half. So, Gary, what's your overall take from this game? What are your thoughts on Eddie Nketiah overall? And who are you most happy to score the goal? Saka, Martin.
I think, like I said, we were so poor in the first half. We deserved better, and we got it. And everybody deserved. Because like you said, we had a goal taken away. Saka had his goal taken away, right? In the first half. Martinelli, not as dominant as you wanted him. It seemed you wanted him to be, and Nketiah was really hesitant in that first half with some of the way he was moving with the ball. I mean, you remember that where he had that one break with a through ball to him, right? And all he had to do was split the defenders, and he just pulled up and just stopped. And you're like, what are you doing? You finally get the ball in the right position, the through ball. You got two defenders there. You split them. You got one defender on your back right shoulder, and you're in business. And he didn't do it. And so
after 20 minutes as well, there was a quick break from Ramsdale. He threw the ball out quickly to Granit Xhaka. Xhaka released Eddie Nketiah. He has Saka with him, but he does try to use Saka as a decoy.
But he's a striker. Yeah, you're up there, and there's two defenders in front of you. You split them. He hesitated and slowed down, and we just got nothing out of it, right?
Yeah, so the moment was there for Saka to receive that ball, right?
Oh no, Nketiah needed to split those defenders and take it. That's what his job is. That's why he's on. That's what we got him on the pitch for.
Well, there's two things. Your striker is caught sometimes between two thoughts.
No, not him. No, not him. His job is to score. He's not doing like we don't. He doesn't need to be as a facilitator at that point. Not that's why we just said he is not Jesus, right?
Right.
We
Yeah.
said he's not Jesus for
He's
that
not.
particular reason. So
No.
when you have that opportunity to go and it's just you and the defense in front of you and you can split them, you split them. I think that's what you do. So I
Okay.
think I want him to take that chance. Maybe he gets blocked, who knows, but he never even tried. You know what I mean?
I kind of want him to make the right decision between pass or shoot. And if a defender blocks it, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I thought Saka was open for that pass as well. Erdegaard was amazing the whole game, Gary. But I thought he carried us in the first 20. You could see he was so bright the first 10, 20 minutes as well.
Yeah.
Very
Like I said,
confident.
I don't think anybody was really that good in the first half because a lot of the passing, even from Erdegaard, wasn't assertive, wasn't in a forward movement with the
Yeah.
ball. A lot of times we're hesitant and we kept going backwards, so we killed any opportunity we had to take advantage of the movement. You know, move the ball forward. You know.
Um,
And we never
not
looked to
here.
move the ball forward. And you saw it happen, like you said, in that 15-minute period. Not too many passes were stagnant and were to people stationary. A lot of people were moving, and that was the problem. It's hard to pass to people that don't just stand behind the defense. So I think
Um,
it, yeah.
in the history in the history of this result, Gary, do you think you look back and say, "Gee, we miss Gabriel Jesus today," or did Eddie fill his boots adequately? You
That's
know,
the problem. You keep saying that he's not supposed to fill anybody's boots because that's not why we have it. He is not Jesus. Let's stop saying filling Jesus's boots. That's not. We
okay,
want
you're
him.
you're the one that talks about depth all the time.
No, but I know, but he's not going to fill Jesus's spot outside of being in the
No,
box and shooting. So I'm not looking for him to do that.
okay, so you want to think of Eddie as a completely like
Yeah.
Jesus is not there. Eddie's a different player.
Yes, we
Okay,
talked about this already multiple times. We said if we had like if we had a Giroud in there, he's not going to do the things that Jesus does, but
yeah,
we could use that skill set, right? By him being in the box and being able to get in the air and attack the ball and all of that. Totally different play than Jesus, right?
mhm,
Is it bad for us? No. But Nketiah has a particular skill set. We need to take advantage of that. The through ball to him, very nice. He just needs to continue through with the play there.
yeah,
Him holding up the defender just with enough space to make that turn.
yeah.
Yes, right. We've
Before
seen Jesus not be able to do that sometimes, right?
Yeah, before you got here, I asked I asked Dan the question, and Tony left. I don't know if he fell in the toilet or whatever. Hopefully, Tony can come back. I didn't get to ask him this question. But do you think the first half, Gary, first this display was kind of the team maybe adapting to Eddie and Nketiah's play or movement that we saw sort of disjointment between the first
I
and
would be,
second half?
I would no. They should have known coming in how this is going to work out. Like this shouldn't have been something new.
Right.
Like they've
But
had weeks. They've
you
had
can
weeks to
train.
figure out. They've had
Yes, you
weeks
can
to figure
train,
out
but
how they were going to
competitiveness.
play, and we see this same lack of movement with Jesus as well. And you can see, you saw multiple times when Jesus would come in, and he would expect somebody to make that run, and they wouldn't. Like we saw that from Saka not making a run, but then on the other side, you see Martinelli make that run. All right. So you've seen it. We've seen it with this team today. The entire first half, nobody was making a run. They were
Yeah.
nobody. They couldn't make a pass because there's nobody to pass it to because they weren't moving. They were stagnant. It was easy to defend. It was really, really
Yeah.
slow.
It
Really,
was
really slow.
the first half. I kind of think everything was kind of compressed, and we must have done something to pull players in the second half out of position. Steve Denham said, "I never thought we would lose it. It was only a matter of time before we put the ball in the back of the net." First half, we had 70% possession. I think the Arteta ball is predicated on possession and keeping the ball, tiring out your opponents, and striking when we had the chance. Mr. Thompson openly said on many shows, platforms, that you would go 1-0 down and overturn it, and you did. So you're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Tom.
That was Mr.
Um,
Tom on many shows.
love to all of you for joining from Mahir as well. But Mahir, Eddie is still not good enough striker for us. Um, yeah, I think over the course of the season, if we have Eddie, it may not be enough. I'm worried about Tony. Tony, come back to us, please. I was saying at halftime, move the ball faster, stop talking, stop taking too many touches on the ball. Big shout out to everybody here as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
4 year anniversary. We'll probably get into that a little bit more on Thursday night. Hit the thumbs up, people. Gary's going to have a show as well in about what, an hour, 2 hours from now, Gary.
Just under 2 hours. Yep, yep.
Yep. So go check out DWTT over there. We will continue the excitement about being. We have to be excited, right, Stan?
Oh yeah,
Seven
very
points
much so.
clear. 7 points
Yeah,
clear of Newcastle.
yeah. I mean, as I said at the beginning of the show, it was new territory. Everyone was worrying about how does a team get back into the groove after a gap in the middle of the season and blah blah blah. And for me, it did look like business as usual by the time that second half came around. And it
Mhm.
was good to see that we managed to get Zinchenko on the field and get a few minutes for him to get a few minutes under his belt, which is only going to bode well for him. They've got to get minutes in their legs, right, so they can play longer and longer and longer and be
Yeah.
ready. So
Um,
yeah,
Usambo said it's not a knock on Enkedia, but please name 6 attackers you wouldn't swap 80 for. No,
no,
wouldn't. I mean, we can name many, many names.
well,
Who
I
we
wouldn't,
wouldn't
I
want
wouldn't
to
swap
trade.
Eddie for Sanogo. So there's one.
Yeah, but there's more than six that you can name that you would trade him for.
Yeah, you would bring in 6 attackers.
You bring up one
Right,
name.
Just six. I'm only allowed to say six.
No, you can say
If you
it's
play
like there's
Eddie,
10 players
he'll
you can.
if you play Eddie, he'll build confidence, which breeds goals. Gary, we heard Erdegaard talking about Eddie, saying he's ready to go. We've seen him in training.
Yeah,
These are the things
I
teammates
don't
are
want to
going to
hear
tell.
that training stuff. Just play because we've heard this too many times. We see it in training. I just want to see it on the pitch, please. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So I don't
as Ray
know.
said here,
Yeah.
I have to give credit to West Ham in some instances. Declan Rice was snuffing out some attacks from Saka, intercepting when
Well,
Saka
he
got
was
back to
beating
West
he was
Ham.
beating Saka up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know about being that defensively playing that defense really well as a defender. I don't think he did that. I mean, he was allowed to beat us up in that first half.
And he's
Um,
probably the one West Ham player Arsenal fans would want in their team, Declan Rice.
Yeah, I'll take him.
Maybe
yeah.
Jared Bowen at the top, but Saka is much better. Martinelli is much better.
Did you
No,
know
think
that?
about it. If you put Antonio and Nketiah's space today, we win 5-0. They're not because they don't have.
Well, I don't know.
He's a beast in the middle there, right? And he can hold up the ball, right? How many times did we see him hold up the ball today against Saliba? He held up the ball multiple times against Saliba, right?
Yeah, but that's different than finishing.
And then you've got
Now.
Saka and Martinelli coming off the wings. Come on, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. So he gives you something as well. I mean, I think injury wise, I'm not sure if he's always around, but you know, that's
Everyone knows better than Eddie Arteta. Eddie isn't good enough. Give these guys the Arsenal job. Okay, in 2 hours there will be Chris from Mr. Tom and Penguins. Stan, let's talk about the penalty incident and Gary too. But start us off, Stan. Penalty incident, Saliba.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where he's gone in to make a tackle, and he didn't get it that time. But you still want him to try and make that tackle, and maybe on another occasion he gets there.
My, my,
It wasn't malicious, right? It wasn't like he went in with his studs and got the guy on the ankle. You could see what was going on, and he just didn't time it just right. So much so that the player was able to stay on his feet and move on a couple of paces, but his momentum, just by that little tap, there was contact.
it was contact.
It's soft, right?
Mhm.
But it
Mhm.
is a penalty.
Yeah.
Did you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if it was against
Soft.
Arsenal,
It's a penalty.
you would
you know what I
want
mean?
you'd want Arsenal to have that penalty if it was against us. If
Yeah.
it happened to us.
Of course.
Now I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna throw something in there. Both of you might react to. Here we have another instance where Gabriel Magalhaes is trying to do something in midfield. He goes for a header in midfield.
that
A
was
ball. Go ahead.
that was Saliba that made the attempt. I thought.
Now Gabriel made the header, and the ball goes to the right back position. It's lofted over Gabriel's head, and now Gabriel's out of position. We've seen this numerous times this season. We've lost a goal against Liverpool at home. It's happened to us at Manchester United, where Gabriel feels the need to go into midfield and make these big challenges. Do you think this is something that we should highlight again, or am I grasping at straws, Gary?
I guess I read that play totally wrong then.
Well, Gabriel Magalhaes goes in the midfield, makes a great header. The crowd roar because it is one of those centre half headers, but I'd prefer him to be making them inside his own half, not in at midfield. The ball gets hit over the top of his head, and Saliba hesitates. Now, for me, Saliba may be a little bit rusty due to lack of
No, but
competitive
so
games.
yeah, that's where I don't understand why you Gabriel. I thought at least
What's the back?
maybe I watched this wrong and I had it wrong in my head, but I thought that it was. So do I have it wrong that Saliba was not the one who hesitated?
Saliba hesitated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and if he doesn't hesitate and goes through that ball, he clears it out nicely,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
And White's there. White's probably
White,
there to
White,
clean it up.
White.
White's there to probably to clean
No,
it up. You're right, Gabriel is out of the way. But for me, at that point, I rather would have had Saliba just clear the thing out and get it out of bounds, get it kicked out of
yes,
bounds at that point because he hesitates and then basically he's in no man's land because he's got two attackers
two
on
on
either
one.
side of him,
Yeah.
and that's what happens at that point. But I would have liked to Saliba to just finish it off right there and just hope that whoever's on the outside of him
Hmm.
is able to chase down
Yeah.
and come behind him. But he
This,
just hesitates and he basically creates a scenario where they could just play right off of him. Whereas I just wanted him to just go in and just finish it off because he could have just finished it off. He could have brought down Antonio, got taken the yellow. All that stuff could have happened at that point, and the ball never even gets to the 18. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
There,
So
there is a hesitation from Saliba to do one or the other, and he gets stuck between both of them. He's got to now recover and make a challenge on Jared Bowen, who's flying into the box. Ben White is always there to cover, and if Saliba doesn't touch Bowen, Bowen's definitely getting a shot away, whether that's saved by the keeper or by Ben White blocked. But Gabriel gets himself out of position in the first instance for me. I don't know, Stan, if you had a chance while we're talking about that to look it over or what your thoughts were.
Sorry, while you were talking there, I just got a message through from Fabrizio Romano. Liverpool have officially signed Cody Gakpo from PSV Eindhoven.
Liverpool.
Yeah. The deal has been signed tonight between clubs. Here we go. Agreement completed. Gakpo will sign a long-term deal later this week as contract is fully agreed. Medical will take place in England in the next few days with agents. Liverpool will pay £37 million with add-ons, which will take it up to 50 million potential package. So there you go.
My thought on this was that Manchester United were in the driving seat for 2 days, right?
obviously not. Obviously not. When the big boys come knocking, like they remember how Arteta said there's a different kind of knock. Well, there you
So
go. That's what it looks like.
this is the Virgil van Dijk. This is the Dutch team link up here. Virgil
Yep.
van Dijk has obviously influenced Gakpo to come to Liverpool rather than Manchester United.
Lissandro Martinez obviously couldn't convince him.
Hmm. Yeah.
And Donny van der Beek probably told him to stay away, not to do it.
Yeah, so I thought Man United were going to go get Gakpo. Liverpool have been struggling with who's the Arsenal killer? Came from Wolves. He used to kill us a lot.
Why can't I
Jota.
think of Jota? Yeah, Jota.
Jota and now Diaz. They're both injured. So Liverpool were desperately in need of another striking option.
The only thing I see with that happening is no different than it's a Nunez. It's just a Nunez too. He's not going to be. Is he going to be hitting the road? Hitting the ground running like they want him to? No, he's going to take time as well.
Yeah.
Right. We've been able to contain him. Right. As an Arsenal team, we've been able to contain him. So same thing will happen in Premier League. It's good that they can play off each other if they're playing both up top there.
That is an exclusive here. Fabrizio
So-
Romano has the tap in of Gakpo coming to Liverpool and announcing that.
All right.
Let's get back to Eddie. Right?
I do-
Eddie's better than Gakpo anyway.
I'll stay on for one more segment, but I'm gonna have to
Okay.
check out. And
Well, tell us about the second half then, Gary. Since you're here.
Yeah, no, we need you to come out in the
where's
second
Tony?
half, and I can see the dog there. It's a dog dog's running around. So the dog's there, so that means the dog must feel he's okay wherever he is, right? Or else
Yeah.
the dog probably wouldn't be there.
Usually,
Now,
dogs would
second
be-
half we need to come out fast and do some, continue to put some pressure on them, and we definitely did that.
Mhm.
Scoring in the first 10 minutes of the second half, and scoring twice in the first 10 minutes. So definitely needed to do that, and we did that. And then basically, once we went up a goal, it was pretty much over at that point. They got nothing, and we kind of saw the blood, right? As a team, we saw
Yeah.
the blood, and we saw an end to finish this thing off.
Did either of you feel it was a little bit fortunate? The shot from Erdegaard seems to be a little bit scuffed, and it lands at Bukayo Saka's feet, and he's onside because Sufal's playing him onside.
Oh no! That was a slide rule pass, mate.
Why did you see? That's what I want to see. We're on the same page, Stan, because I don't know what Ray saw. I saw his
I see both of you
magnifique
smiling. I
assist
see both of you
from the
smiling.
maestro.
Threading a
there.
needle, that was.
That's one of these. I have a nice.
Listen.
Straight off
The
the
whole-
training ground.
The whole game, Erdegaard was doing those perfect slide rule passes, and they weren't working. So Erdegaard's like, I'm going to scuff a shot. It's going to drop perfectly at Saka's feet. He's going to control it and slide it perfectly into the corner of the net. Look, Gary, the most difficult thing, I'm come around to the idea the most difficult thing now is scoring goals, not getting into those positions, right? Because we see Darwin struggling with that. Last year or the year before, Saka may not have finished that opportunity.
Well, yeah, I mean that was one of the things we said going into the last season was he just needed to improve his finishing. He's been doing that. We've seen him also Rowe do that and Martinelli do that, and it was expected. It was gonna for me. I feel it was expected at that point that they were going to struggle there, but they were going to get there, and they've been getting there again. But each time we see them out there on the pitch, right? So yeah, no, they're. We can only and they're not even there yet. You know what I mean? They're not there yet. They still have time. There's still lots of improvement that can be made to the way that they play. So
Yeah, we still have a ceiling. We're
Speaking
7
of,
points clear.
Speaking of Saka, the goal that he scored today is his third consecutive goal on Boxing Day. The last player to do that for Arsenal was Thierry Henry in 2002, 3, and 4. That's not bad. It's not bad stats coattails to ride off.
And I know who we played 2 years ago because Gary knows I always talk about December 26th, 2020. I think that was the turning point for
it
us.
was Chelsea, right? It was Chelsea.
Yeah,
right?
Chelsea 3-1. Who did we play last year?
Can't remember.
Oh, I thought it was Norwich, right? Norwich. We played 5-0.
5-0. Yeah.
Oh, there you go then.
Scored in that game as well. All right, so December 26th is a good number for us.
Yeah.
And apparently as well, no other team won at home today, right?
No.
Is that right?
I don't think so.
I mean, I've not watched any other of the games, so I don't know. You know what we were talking about. Are people sluggish after the gap? I don't know. I've only watched our game. I'm looking forward to watching match of the day actually, just to catch up on all of that. But it is a bit, you know what I mean? I thought, oh yeah, no other people's won at home, right? The home advantage, and so I wonder what that was all about.
Yeah, nobody at home won today. No, there was only a draw early the first match, and that's it.
Yeah.
They didn't win, Ray. A draw is not a win. But I gotta go. I know Alonso just joined, but I do have to go. I'll see you guys.
Tag in, tag out.
Hey, Gary, send me a link. Can I be on podcast?
I don't know. Can you? Yeah, I'll send you the link. I'll send you. Send me a message. Send me a message. I'll send you the link. But,
Mario only says, yeah.
Still out, mate.
Gary.
All right, see you. You guys have a good show. Talk to you later, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Hey, Stan.
Hello there. We'll bring Tony's panorama skyline view into focus as well. All right, Alonso. Let's talk about what were your thoughts on the penalty first.
Right. So I saw it right in time and got to the place I was going to. Yeah. So I thought that it was very unfair. I thought that, I thought Jared Bowen dove a little bit there. I think that the refs just saw that and didn't see actually what actually happens.
Mhm.
And so I thought that it was kind of an unfair penalty. Michael Oliver has been kind of cheeky when it comes to that stuff. So yeah, I thought it was kind of unfair. To be honest, I thought it was great defending. But whatever, I think
Yeah.
sometimes you get those calls that don't go our way during this time we're being up front. So whatever. I think the way he came back was pretty awesome though.
Yeah, listen, a great comeback in the second half. Thunder Road's asking, does anyone have Tony's phone number or address? Honestly, I think he's okay. I think he's just been pulled away to take care of something, and he'll be right back, I think. Steve Dennis said, Arteta rates Eddie, but what does he know? He signed Ramsdale, who is shit. Ben White, who is shit. Odegaard, who doesn't do anything. Yet he's got the same players, top of the league. Exactly, Steve Denham. Exactly. We are here. We're not. It's not a mistake where we are right now in the league. I mean, we never imagined this at the start of the league. I thought we would get off to a great start. We had those 5 or 6 games that were very winnable at the start, but here we are. I think 15 games in, and we won 13 out of 15, and that's the only kind of pressure, Stan, that will be exerted on Manchester City that could stick. You have to do this to Manchester City. Win game after game after game.
Yep, exactly. And so far, so good. I mean, they're the ones that are playing catch up now.
The
You know,
pressure's going to be on them on Wednesday when they go to Leeds United.
yeah,
As Thunder Road said, Leeds versus City on Wednesday. Um, so they're going to have to get something out of it. I believe Leeds will play City and then they will play Newcastle. Um, So I believe Leeds will get something from either one of those 2 games. I don't think that Leeds are going to lose both of those games. I believe, and we're looking at Newcastle coming, and Newcastle are playing really well as well. Okay, Mr. Tom, I just hope City don't try to make a statement of intent against the Leeds. They will want to win, but we'll see what happens. We can sit back comfortable in the knowledge we have an 8 point gap on City. Gabriel did it again, and Antonio was behind, but he ended up being offside.
Hey, right, is that a new kit you got for Christmas?
Yes, yes. New
Nice.
kit I got for Christmas.
very nice.
Wife, this is a perfect time to talk about. I don't know if you've got anything there to show, but my wife's been into like melts, Scentsy melts, and wax bars. So there's the official Arsenal smell. The official Arsenal smell has been wafting around the house today, and she said it's either going to be good luck or bad luck depending on the result today. So it was good luck. So Stan, Bukayo Saka pulls us level 1-1 with a great finish.
I knew that he was on it today because of the one that was chalked off earlier. You think to yourself, yeah, he is on it today. And as we mentioned earlier, all of our front three played very well today. Martinelli as well. So yeah, fantastic, brilliant.
As Ray said,
I don't know what else I can say to that. Really, I mean, we're in such a good vein of form, and it
oh,
seems like he's carried his form over into the World Cup, and he's brought it back with him as well.
one thing I wanted to mention about that, Stan, was Declan Rice wins the ball and he's carrying it out, but Partey was like, you're not carrying that ball. There was a crunching tackle just before the goal. Partey wins the ball back. Um, it comes to Odegaard. Odegaard carries that ball centrally, and you say it's a slide rule pass. I say it's a scuff shot. We'll agree to disagree. And Saka scores.
But he showed his composure as well. He gets the ball, he has to do a little touch to bring it under control, and then it's straight in the back of the net.
Yep. Yep.
Sharp as you like.
I
Switched
had a
on.
slight thought that we were going to look at offside on that one, but I kind of remembered Sufal being level. So you always have that hesitation when we score a goal now because of VAR and with that supposed handball just before halftime. Unfortunately, it hit Cresswell's head. I'm sure he's okay. He hasn't replied. Nobody is talking about Newcastle. We were talking about Newcastle right? I think everybody's talking about Newcastle. They're on such a run that you cannot deny them. You know, they're in second place now, 7 points behind us. Leeds better play. Leeds play better against the big seven.
That will
Sometime.
make for an interesting game when we play them quite soon, right?
Yeah, we
That's going to
play
make
them
for an
after
interesting one.
Brighton. We'll have a quick word. We're going to talk about the other two goals.
Almost a 6-pointer, isn't it?
Definitely, definitely. And we'll have a quick word then. Much more time we got here, Stan. Another 10 or 15.
Yeah, I have to go very soon, actually.
Okay, let's go for 5 more minutes for you because we don't
Cheers.
want to leave it too long. Did you see Moyes' comments before the game? He was asked, "Is now the best time to play Arsenal after World Cup?" He said the best time to play Arsenal was 3 years ago.
Well, it's
Indeed.
funny when you think about it because Mikel Arteta is there today as a manager of Arsenal, and he's got two of his former managers in the stadium as well.
Yes.
He played under Moyes and he's played
Yes.
under Wenger.
We talked about that on Thursday night as well, I think, and he's not a rookie manager anymore, and we can't ever talk about Mikel Arteta now. I think he's been through enough over the last 3 years to have gained the experience needed, and he's guiding us to the top of the league. And we're not going to waste this generation of youth players, Bukayo Saka, Martinelli, who we worried would be leaving the club because we weren't competitive. Saka maybe doesn't want to go to City now because is he going to sit on the bench like Jack Grealish? Anyway, the second goal, Alonso Martinelli, Saka, Erdegaard, Xhaka, and then the pass to Martinelli. He checks back on Soufal, which freezes Soufal. There's Tony, alive and well.
Our Tiger.
He freezes Soufal.
I'm back.
And,
I'm sure Tony's sling was on the other arm before he left us, but
No, it wasn't. Don't be like Thunder Road and accuse me of switching it up.
but a great finish, left-footed Alonso into the corner, and Fabianski is not watching. Fabiasco is not watching.
Fabiasco?
Near post.
Flappy Hansky.
Fabianski. That was the goal to turn it around for us, after 5 minutes of getting the equalizer.
Yeah, I mean, it was what do you call it? Arteta ball. Yeah, it was great finish all around. I think that the midfield this year has been the most surprisingly good midfield. I think it's all coming together, and it took time. And seeing Xhaka somehow being a playmaker now is quite interesting, quite amazing, actually, really, because he got an assist out of it. So, this is what happens when you get everything in motion and working together. I think it also said Partey. I think the way he tackles and commands the ball, and I think that the way he you feel his presence, right? And things like that happening. And you see Saka and Odegaard and Xhaka, of course, playing well together. This is what every Arsenal fan wanted, right? And yeah, I think Odegaard makes that engine run. Like Stan said earlier in the podcast, that Odegaard I think some people had these doubts about him when he first came on, first on a loan year. But then when we signed, we actually got what we all wanted from number 8, number 10 position. So it all came full circle, and Jock got an assist, which is pretty cool to see as well. So yeah, all around, it was a great finish by Martinelli.
Yep. Stan, you're going to get out here in a couple minutes, so I think I'll give you the final word on things, and then I'll close that with Alonso and Tony. Tony has lots to say after being away for the last 27 minutes.
Sorry. Life happens.
Yeah. I mean, what more is there to say? I mean, we were all very pensive going into this game to see how we would be able to, continue. Some of the friendly games didn't go in our favour. There was a couple of own goals. People were panicking, but by the end of the 90 minutes of this one, for me, I felt it was, back to business has resumed. It looked reminiscent of the football that I'd been watching for the season gone. And again, Eddie's got off the mark, so you got to take these things one game at a time. I hope now that when we go into the next game, that Eddie's also able to make another contribution. Doesn't have to be a goal, but if you can make a contribution, even similar in the way that Jesus would, with an assist or a good second ball, then that will do for me. You know, maybe we'll go into the next game and Eddie grabs a brace.
Yep.
You know,
Let's not forget,
as his confidence has surely been lifted, it must have been playing on his mind going into this. You know that, thinking of the headlines and that everybody, all eyes are on Eddie, and that must be lifted now. Surely, hopefully.
Yeah. I think Arteta was kind of relieved as well a little bit. And let's not forget, Gabriel Jesus he went scoreless for 10, 11 games as well.
Exactly.
But he was still contributing to the team. And I think this team has been built now in such a way that we don't rely on any one person. We don't rely on an Erling Haaland or a Foden or a Kevin De Bruyne to score all the goals for us. These goals are spread around the whole team. And all of our forwards, I'll just say this before Stan goes, all of our forwards, Martinelli and Kedia and Saka scored today. Ødegaard had a couple of assists. So everybody contributed in this win today. And I don't know if we need a new striker, but we're going to get some kind of a forward player in January. We have to get some kind of a forward player in January.
We need a target man.
Yeah, but that's not how we play, Tony. We don't play that way. We don't play with a target.
Still need somebody up there because everybody's figuring out.
We don't play with a plan B.
Crowd the box. You need somebody big that you can get the ball to.
That's what Manchester City are doing right now.
Tony wants us to go and sign Peter Crouch.
Manchester City are doing that right now, and they're third in the league. They're 8 points behind.
There has to be a younger version of Oliver Giroud out there, Stan.
Never know.
I trust in Arteta and Edu and what they're doing. So, Stan, are you out of here?
Yeah, I've got to go. So it's good to speak to you again after this win. Thanks for everyone that popped in on Boxing Day to have a chat. And I look forward to speaking to you all again next week. Take care, everyone.
Can you join us Thursday,
See you, man.
Well, what's happening on Thursday?
You think it'd be good for Thursday? Thursday night forum.
Why? Is it New Year's Eve on Thursday?
No.
I should be fine then.
You get shit-faced on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, should be fine. All right, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. Take care.
See you, man.
All right, so Tony, you got any thoughts on today's game? We'll talk about two players individually as well. The Eddie and Nketiah goal sort of relieves the pressure from him and stops some Arsenal fans from talking about him too much, right?
Yeah. To me, it's weird seeing him back there where Jesus and Lacazette's been, instead of being up there where he's good at. He's good at being in that small space, just nicking goals. That's where he needs to be at. He doesn't need to be in the midfield. You see him with passes that White was making. You see him with passes that Gabriel was making. And you see him multiple. Thanks for breaking news, Alonso. Whatever you're watching there. But anyway, you seen Ødegaard with his passes. A couple of great passes to Xhaka, which nothing ended up with that. At least that's still just weird seeing Xhaka being an attacking midfielder. But
Granit Xhaka, yeah. Being one of the, and coming out of that interview with Carragher and Arteta did tell Granit Xhaka, you need to improve. You need to be able to play this left-sided midfield role, or I will replace you. And Granit Xhaka came back fit and ready to play the role. Player focus. Want to talk about Saka or Ødegaard first?
I thought Ødegaard was great, minus seeing his finishing.
Yes.
One we went way over Vidal. The other one he blasted to the right. The other one ended up being an assist to Saka, which was nice. That wasn't planned at all to go to Saka, but it did.
Exactly. That's what I said.
Saka was ready.
Stan and Gary thought it was like, maybe tongue-in-cheek, they were saying it was a perfect slide rule pass. Ødegaard was taking a shot on it.
He had so much power. I don't know how it got deflected enough to be able for Saka to collect it, but he did.
Yeah.
I thought probably Saka individually probably had the best game, but I really was liking what White was doing too.
Yeah, White was playing really well, but can we just go to the man of the match? Erdegaard, right, Tony?
It's a toss up between Odegaard and White for me.
Really? Ben White?
Yeah.
I mean, Ben White has played well for us, but
he
I didn't
played
think
very
he
well
played as
today.
well as Erdegaard today. For me, it was either Erdegaard or Bukayo Saka. Alonso, what do you think, Alonso? Erdegaard, who's your man in the match nomination?
Are we like Odegaard, aka Odegaard? I think he played to what every Arsenal fan wants him to be. I think that he attacks. I think he does some tricky passes, some tricky tricks too. He did that one trick during the end of the game where he did a nutmeg. That was pretty cool. Anyway, that being said, I think that whenever you have on the right side and the left side meshing well together, it's hard to really pinpoint what a man of the match is to me. Because we always talk about the left side being the weakest link, we talk about the right side being the weakest link. Now we're finally getting both sides gelling, and we got both sides coming in from goals from both sides, so or at least starting up from both sides. So to me, Martin Odegaard, like Stan had said, he pulls the strings in that midfield.
Yes.
And he dictates, and he has a work rate that I haven't seen in quite a long time as an Arsenal fan. He does it every game as well. So today, my man of the match today is Odegaard for sure, because he also tackles as well. You know, he does all the dirty work as well. Like Mesut Ozil never did that.
Yeah, he mixed it up a little bit. I think he went to ground and there was a boot in his face. We're always going to think it's intentional, but it was probably accidental at that time. Ray said, "I loved how White played, though. He looks so calm, and that's Ben White. He doesn't look very fussed at any time. He's able to play under the pressure and constraints. Ben White is quality again today, but Erdegaard was brilliant. Then Saka. I thought Erdegaard and Saka dragged us back into the game, Alonso.
Yeah, he did, and you know, I think, like I said, you know, he creates a lot of passes for us, or Arsenal rather, and like I said, like that midfield, it changed once we got everyone on board and what our consensus ideas were, and you see the work rate in all three of them, even Partey, Odegaard, and Xhaka. And you know, it's just really tough sometimes because when you're playing well, winning games, it's hard to pick men in a match, really. But Odegaard today showed his class today.
Yeah. Tony, which Derek should I bring to the trip? Derek 2, 5, or 5.5?
5.5.
Okay.
He's a small one.
So, listen, 15 games, 13 wins, and 1 draw. So we are safe from relegation right now. We're not going to get relegated this season, right? We've hit 40 points.
Don't think we have to worry about that, right?
That's the first objective, Alonso. If we can do that before the end of the year, we're a hell of a team.
God, you just keep changing your targets all the time, right?
I was tongue in cheek a little bit. You know that, Tony, right?
First it's 65 points, then it's 72 points. Then it's gonna be 75 or in the 80s.
A great win from Arsenal today. I thought we struggled to play our game with Eddie and Ketty in the lineup, but I thought we found our way in the second half. That's just my personal opinion as to explain how bad we were in the first half and how good we were in the second half. Maybe Arteta.
It's not that we were bad though in the first half. We just weren't. We weren't converting, right?
That's it. That's why we were bad, because we weren't converting. You know what I mean?
We had 3/4 of a possession. We were doing anything we wanted to except for scoring. That's been our problem all year.
Throw in your questions. We will take questions. We're going to talk about Brighton. We're going to talk about Newcastle before we get out of here.
But for me, the down one of the match would be between Saka and Odegaard, even though White had a fine performance.
Yeah. We're giving it to the Swedish chef, Erdegaard, We're giving it to Erdegaard.
Oh yeah, you're overvoting me this time, and we were just going
You
straight
put the
to
two.
Odegaard.
You put two nominations up. You didn't say one or the other, right? Right, Alonso. He put two nominations out there.
Hey Tony, how are you, Tony?
I'm so.
Good.
I'll be
Good.
glad to get this off maybe tomorrow. I don't know. At least the
Good.
stitches are coming out tomorrow.
Good. I'm hoping that you're doing well, Tony.
Then I have to have a muscle biopsy and 2 MRIs tomorrow. So who knows what that will tell.
It's like, it's like when it's
I
minus
feel like it's
14
whack-a-mole.
degrees.
I like whack one mole and like 2 more pop up.
When it's like minus 14 degrees Celsius outside, and then the next day it's freezing. Well, it feels balmy the next day because it's just 0 degrees Celsius. Question for the lads: if we are 6 points clear in March, do you sacrifice the Europa League? No. No.
Yeah, when
No, I
when
think
you
obviously you try to juggle both, right? But you want to maintain the league, Alonso.
The better question would be, do we try to do anything in the FA Cup that's coming up?
Okay. Alonso, what do you think? Europa League, FA Cup.
I mean, dealing like this, right? It's a trophy, and you gotta play to our potential and get as many trophies as you can, right? I mean, City do it all the time, right? Liverpool do it all the time, so why can't Arsenal?
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't have as many players.
You're right. I mean, he's right. Look at the subs bench today, Alonso. You have your second goalkeeper Turner, which that's okay, right? We could do better than Turner, but we got Cedric, we got Lakonga, we got Marquinhos, we got Cozier, Dewberry. 4 out of the 9 are players you wouldn't really want to see, and even on your subs bench.
Right, but they'll all change in January, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big if though. However, the big clubs always aim for the stars, right? To get where we're at a club, we have to build also to aim for trophies as well, no matter who we have, I think.
Yep.
So the FA Cup we should win, we should go for because that's basically what we try to aim for every year. Europa League we never won before, and we don't have a European Cup ever. So we have one, right?
So here's the thing: we haven't won the league in 19 years.
Go for the league, right?
19 years, and we haven't won a European trophy in so long as well, quarter of a century. Mm-hmm. I think the league is more prestigious than the Europa League for me. So we got to go for the league. I think that's the answer.
I agree with you, Ray.
Yep. Now, that being said, what Alonso is saying.
I agree with him. I just don't think we have the team to be able to do that.
Yeah, you don't think we have the resources, but these players should be able to go out and play in FA Cup games against a Colchester or a Coventry. We're going to play Coventry. We should be able to put out a mixed team, an unbalanced team, and be able to get through that fixture.
Just look at the Europa, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Those games, we just weren't. Those teams we should have been putting away 5-6-0, and we weren't doing it. We were struggling.
Exactly. Yep. So the answer to the question to Alonso and Don Juan is concentrate on the league, and because I would love to beat this Manchester City team to the league. And look, Newcastle are second, but I think I'm looking at Manchester City and not Newcastle. Great to have you here, Steve Denham. Right, everyone will have to go. I'll catch everyone later. See you on the next show. Oh, Oxford, Ray. Thank you, Oxford. Yeah. But that's a team we can put a mixed side out and win, and that tells me you're telling. Like, I'm gonna admit, I haven't been looking past Brighton and Newcastle. I know we play Spurs away from home when we play United to finish in the league. At least we finish. The FA Cup will take care of itself. The league is most important to me. Let me tell you something, brother. You sit there at the bottom window like you are top of the mountain, like you're a real American hero, brother.
Oh, you're brother.
I think that's toward you, is it, Tony? I don't know.
Yep, that's his wrestling
Oh,
Okay.
the
All right.
Patriot.
wrestling pitch to me.
A great win today where Newcastle are coming hard. We'll talk about You want to talk about Newcastle?
Coming hard.
They're coming hard. They're coming fast. But they have they're the
This is
team.
a PG show, Ray.
Now that we conceded a goal,
They're coming hard. They're coming fast.
Tony, they are the best. They are the best defensive team in the league right now because we've
Who is?
conceded. Newcastle. They've only conceded 11 goals. We've conceded 12.
Yeah, they're ahead of where they should be, where people thought they would be. I thought I could sneak in and get a Champions League spot this year. Looks like we're gonna get it. You don't know what United's gonna do. You don't know what Chelsea's gonna do, and the Spurs are feisty. They get behind. They don't look good. They pull out results somehow.
Were you probably didn't hear what Stan announced? Cody Gakpo has been announced as a Liverpool player by Fabrizio Romano.
Oh.
Shock, right?
Oh. Not much of one.
Well, he was going to go to United, wasn't he? They were all talking about United. So that's the news. Gakpo's going to Liverpool. Because
when do we hear when somebody's coming to Arsenal, right? When does that happen?
There are sources, unsubstantiated sources, that have said that there is a first bid for Mudryk has gone in from Arsenal. But,
how much is a 21-year-old help us?
A lot.
We have a lot of 20-year-olds that are helping us right now.
21-year-old, right?
Yeah, we have kids that
we have 24, 25. They're not kids, right?
How old is Saka?
How many minutes has Saka been playing?
How old is Saka?
How many minutes has he been playing?
No,
he's probably 22.
Answer my question first. How old is Martinelli?
22.
Hey, Martinelli wasn't in the projects until
okay, we'll talk about
Newcastle went away.
Second, but we're gonna get out of here pretty soon.
How many minutes did he have last year before Aubameyang got shit canned?
Don Juan. Thank you, Don Juan.
One game you played in, right?
21 years old. There you go. 21-year-olds can help you if they have the quality. It's all about quality. If you're good enough, you're old enough, right, Alonso?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Alonso. We have got Brighton on Saturday.
What time?
I think it's early morning. At 10, probably 10. Wasn't prepared for that question. We have Brighton away from home on Saturday. They've transitioned really well from Potter to De Zerbi.
I had the answer on the screen for you, Alonso, but I fucking clicked away and now my internet's being slow.
Brighton are a decent team, Alonso.
Yeah, and they got good players too, like McAllister, who won the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So the talent's are even there. It's just a matter of they always profit really well, and they find replacements really well. And they're still in the top half of the league as well. So they've been known to play in top 4 and top 6 very well. So they become a stalemate in the table, right? So there's also good players like Ben White, one of them, Mampay, Lusuma, and some others as well. So
Saicedo, I think, but good news today was Saicedo got a yellow card, so he's not going to feature in this game.
Right.
Saicedo.
But they have Ben Mee. They have Ben Mee too, right? Ben Mee, or is that not?
Ben Mee with Brentford, but they got Trossard, they got McAllister, Lallana. I think Lallana scored the first goal.
Yeah.
Southampton are a really poor team.
They got good talent too, so they shouldn't be messed with. I think that they've done a good job of staying consistently respectable and threatened a tough flourish earlier in the year, so they're no slouch, and so
Exactly.
I think Arsenal should be aware of that. And yeah, it was a tough game with them as well.
Tony, I'm going to put it to you that today was a very important win for us to beat West Ham at home. I think it's blown off some of the cobwebs that we had. I think Kedia has gotten himself a goal, and we're now probably a little bit more battle hardened to go away. If today had been an away game, we could have struggled, but we were at home and the crowd was able to carry us through. I think, as Stan and Gary said, none of the home teams won today.
Yeah, what's it been since last November since we lost at home? December. It's
Yes,
been a long time. I think that helps. I'm not sure if Eddie and Kedia scoring helps or not because he's still lacking a lot of the stuff we need to see from him.
it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt that he got a goal today. You know what I mean? And
I'm just not sure how much it helps.
some Arsenal fans will sit there and say privately, I'm not happy that he scored because that might tempt the club not to get a striker. I don't think we've ever been talking about getting a striker. We're going to get a forward. I think we're going to get Mudryk, a left winger, for January, and we may even go get a midfielder in Tielemans. Um, you know, as Don Juan
I
said,
think you have to wait until next year, Ray. Sorry.
until the summer. Brighton are a very good transitional side. They ain't no mugs, Tony. So we're going to have a tough game. But I'm glad we got this win under our belt. This one was vital. Knowing the next four games are going to be very tough.
Yeah, that Newcastle is gonna be the toughest one, I think. You
Yep.
never know what to expect against Spurs. Man United's kind of the same. The Jekyll and Hyde team this year. That Spurs play sloppy, but yet they're somehow get results. They're not that good, not as good as I thought they'd be. But playing there is always gonna be a tough haul. Newcastle, like you said, top defense, not too shabby on the offense either.
Yep.
They're not number 2 spot for. They're definitely a deserving team to be where they're at.
Yeah, I think
Be
Brighton
very
are
long,
seventh position. These are the teams that I'm talking about, Alonso. We got to go to Brighton at the weekend. That's going to be a tough one. Newcastle at home and Spurs away. Arsenal players should think back to last season and just get that as motivation for revenge. You know, we lost against Newcastle up there, and we lost at
when
Spurs.
it lost, we got our ass kicked. That's the game that nobody showed up to play. When there's top 4 to play for, team just failed to show up.
Can we use that as motivation, Tony, for the next three, 4 games?
Yeah,
it should be, but I don't know if that will be or not.
Yeah, look at that, Alonso. We got Brighton away, and we got to go there and put a performance in. But if we're looking at Newcastle, Spurs, and United, we've had recent defeats from them in the last 6 months.
those 14 beat us last year, and they beat us pretty bad, in my opinion. So, as Arsenal fans, the Arsenal should realize that's like all 4 of them to be a revenge games. Because didn't Brighton beat us at their place last year?
It was a 0-0 draw, I believe, last year.
Both games were right. Both games.
It was like the 5th game of the season. It was very early on.
But
I still think you have the advantage of looking back to last year. Just look what's in front of you, play them, and move on.
But then Newcastle beat us pretty bad when we needed those points. Same thing with Spurs. They came in very confident. And
yeah, but that was the players' fault for not showing up at all.
Right. Well,
correct.
Right.
Newcastle. Newcastle games there's no excuses.
I'm talking about the Spurs game. I'm talking about the Spurs games.
You were talking about both of them, but yeah.
We can take them in tandem. I mean, we've lost to Newcastle, we've lost to Spurs, we lost to United this season as well.
We failed to show up for Newcastle.
And also Spurs too, because remember we got Bob Holding got red carded in that game, and there, in my opinion, I saw Sun. Anyway, we lost that game,
Mhm.
and we weren't prepared to play that game either. The United game, we lost in December to them with the refs' help, of course. So all 4 games should be reminders on why we should beat them.
Steven says here, I think I know what he's going to say. If we need extra motivation,
There
if
you
we
go.
need additional motivation to staying first, then there is no hope. Being first should be all the motivation these players need. Steven, if a team beat me bad last season, if I'm on that team, I'm looking for the next time I want to be. I want to play them, and that's the motivation I will carry in. I think professional footballers need to carry that motivation as well. I definitely get you're in a title race. You need to go and be motivated to win each and every game. I think we did that today against West Ham. Hopefully, we'll do that against
I just think
Brighton.
it's kind of hard to look back. You have to look forward.
So if you played up in Newcastle and you got your ass handed to you, Tony, you're not
I
going to
would be
want to do
yelling
something
at
next
every
time.
fucking player in the dressing room. But man, Smith, nobody was ready for that game. Did it look like
Are
we
you
traveled
going to
that
be
game,
ready
Rick?
January 3rd? Are you going to be ready January 3rd, Tony? I think you will be. Right?
But did anybody look ready for that game
No,
with what
no,
was on the line?
no,
It looked like nobody cared.
no, exactly. So I'm just saying we get January, this last game in December, Brighton is going to be a tough game in of itself. And then we got those 3 games that are going to be tough in the league.
Yeah,
The
you
couple,
never know what's happened with those two being the Spurs and the United.
yeah, this is definitely January could be a roller coaster month, right, Tony?
I don't want to hear that word, Rick. You just sent me a video of pretty much a straight
Straight
fucking
line,
line.
Arsenal. Yeah, I shared Tony the link of Arsenal's
No turbulence in my air, Ray. We're just flying
league
along.
position. The
We're
league
just
position
flying
throughout
along.
the
No
14,
turbulence.
15 games, and we're pretty much straight line all the way across the top. You know what I mean? We got to the top pretty quickly, and we managed to maintain it, and we're still there, Tony.
It's kind of
Um,
like one of those Learjets or Cessnas. Just nice, smooth ride the whole way. That's all you want.
Go see in about an hour from now, Tony and Alonso will be on Gary's show. So do go check that out. We're going to check out here in about 5 minutes, give everybody a chance to go get something to eat, be ready for
Alonso gets to talk. That's the best part
Gary's
because
show.
Gary doesn't talk as much on his own show. So Alonso can
Exactly.
talk.
Alonso, what are your final thoughts from today's game then? And just let's wrap things up here and thank everyone for being here. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and all that good stuff. We'll be back Thursday. Alonso?
Right. So even though the referee gave West Ham a goal, I guess that was really solid performance from the players in the back. I think Ben White had a great game, as did Tierney and Saliba and Regulesh. Yeah.
You don't think that was a penalty?
No, they're not.
If it
Left his feet.
happened to Martinelli, I would want the penalty, and I kind of was resigned to the fact that it would be a penalty.
If he fell down, it would have been a stone cold penalty. But he tried to keep his balance, kept on going. He was clipped.
Still a penalty, though, right?
Yeah, it's
Ray's right. City have hard fixtures too, and we need to keep the pressure on Ray Anderson, on City. This is the only way you can beat City to a title. Get in front and stay out there. Alonso, continue.
So it's been like kind of cool seeing how this midfield has developed into a pretty dominant, close dominant midfield. I think that's been a weak link in the past is that we don't get enough of our midfield. But I think the way Hardhay and Udegaard play have made even Granit Xhaka a better player, where he's now getting assists and being more offensive. And having a healthy party matters as well. People will talk about, well, what if we lose Saka or Martinez to injury? And honestly, what happens if we lose Partey? There's no clear cut backup for him other than El Nene and or somebody with Congo. So his loss, if you lose him, which I hope we don't, is kind of a hard task as well. That being said, I think our midfields are poor now. Where if we don't have a good midfield, then none of those players get the goals. To be honest, so just seeing the work rate of those three midfielders is pretty cool to see. And also seeing Eddie score is pretty awesome because
Mhm.
he needed that goal more than anyone else
Yeah.
to
And
get his
what?
confidence up and going.
Yeah, there wasn't a tap in, so he definitely needed. Steven said the collapse last season came from one place only: management and their gutting of the club in January. I don't blame the players at all. I don't think if Callum Chambers had played, the result would have been any different. We did gut the club in January. They did trim down the squad to be able to bring in Zinchenko, Gabriel, and bring back Saliba. But I don't think that going for your third and fourth choice defenders would have changed that result in any way, shape, or form. That's just my opinion. Um, Tony,
You don't think bringing in Bruno Guimaraes would have helped?
well, that playing in midfield, we lost the game at the back. But yeah, I take what you mean. I don't think Gamares was ever. Um, anyway, Gamares went to Newcastle. I don't know exactly what happened there. I don't know if we were interested in the player.
According to the agent, we just didn't have the money to pay. We weren't willing to pay the money. So
And that's the overall package, right? The wage structure as
yeah,
well. Well, I don't know what Gamares is getting paid at Newcastle, so I can't speak without context. Tony, want to wrap up your final thoughts?
yeah, it's kind of been the same story of a season. You get there, you have the possession, you're not scoring. Then we finally started clicking in the second half, getting the goals we needed. I mean, there's plenty of times Odegaard was hitting a wide open man and weren't doing enough with it. Twice it was Zaka. I don't know what he did that first time. It's just like he wasn't expecting a ball to come to his feet, and he did nothing with it 5 feet from a goal. I mean, that should have been the easiest tap in there is. But there's definitely the fight of a team. There's that fight back spirit. I didn't see much
Mm-hmm.
of it in the first half, but whatever was said or done in halftime, it changed. You seen, I don't think we played bad per se in the first half like you did. I think we were attacking, but it's just the same thing. We weren't clinical.
Mm-hmm.
You seen Odegaard miss chances he should have made. One of the shots ended up being a pass and assist to Saka, which put
Yeah,
us where we wanted to be.
yeah.
But it's kind of those things. We're just not clinical. That's why I think we need a big guy that can get up there that we can target. Because all these teams are learning that you can do this counter attack during us, and it almost killed us a couple of times, except for some timely tackles, timely foul like the one Zaka did near the end of the game. Not sure why he did it when we were up 2 goals, but stuff like that's what you want to see. Partey was doing all kinds of stuff to keep the ball from them getting the counter. But in that first half, they were countering us to death because of that high line. That high line's still dangerous. I think we need to back off a little bit of it
Yeah.
or have somebody drop back. So we got
Hey,
three there. So you don't
I
have the
don't.
tackle that Saliba made that gave away a penalty.
Yeah, if you look back on that, I was saying to Gary and Stan earlier, Gabriel Magalhaes tries to make the header in midfield again, and the ball gets hit over his head. Saliba hesitates a little bit on that one and concedes the penalty.
He's
But
so he. I don't know why he hesitates when he's like the last man back there. He's like
I think that might have been a little
deer in
bit of
headlights type thing
competitive,
from the
little bit
guy.
of competitive rust. We've seen a similar goal. Liverpool scored a goal like that Nunez goal against us in similar fashion,
I
and
just wish we would take a few steps back, not be
yeah,
above the halfway
we
line.
are a little bit cavalier, and that either is a good. It's both a good thing and a bad thing. We get caught out at times. Against Newcastle in particular, we're going to have to be rock solid at the back because their defenders defend. I think our defenders, especially at home, take a few risks. Any other points, Tony, before we get out of here?
No, that's it. We got our shit together and started finishing. And game, I think it should have been put away in the first half, but it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
They played us well. They were playing the counter. We weren't finishing. It's kind of been a story of a year, but we've been having enough fight back to win.
Yep.
Kind of wondering if we'd have the same fight back without Jesus. That's kind of why I'd like to see Zinchenko in there a little earlier, settle things down, more of that
But
spirit.
it's good they were able to beat that team without the likes of Gabriel Jesus and without the likes of Zinchenko in there. This was a vital one. West Ham were 16th, but you have to win your games. And this was a vital win coming up to Brighton, Newcastle, Spurs, and Man United next month. Next month will be a tricky one for us, but 3 points today was of utmost importance. And all of our forwards scoring, Nketiah, Saka, and Martinelli. Odegaard with 2 assists and Granit Xhaka with the 1 assist for Martinelli. So it was a pretty complete performance, boys.
Can we? Are we not give Odegaard both assists, even though one wasn't meant to be?
Gary and Stan, look back at the footage on this podcast. Gary and Stan totally thought that it was a perfect slide rule pass, and we got a little bit of fortune to get that ball into Saka's feet.
I don't know what happened. He was putting so much power into it that it just went right to his feet. And
Yeah,
back of a
I
net.
think in the 53rd minute we got a little bit of fortune to get that equalizing goal, and then our tails went up, and we went on from there, scoring 3 goals
We definitely need that.
in 15 minutes. And I think it was great to see Arsene Wenger back in the stands as well. We talked about that a little bit earlier as well.
Yeah, I wish I got to say more about that because we always thought he'd be like director of football, something like that. Here it is, 4 years later that he's finally back. It just feels weird. It just feels like he should have been there, part of a club.
I know. But
Just-
we talked about this earlier as well. Do you want Arsene Wenger to be the distracting figure in the stands like Alec Ferguson is at Manchester United? You
But-
know?
If he's helping you do stuff off the
Mhm.
field,
Yeah.
bringing in the
I think
players,
he will definitely take an ambassador's role, or maybe even be part of the board in some kind of an honorable way, because he does have a good relationship with
we
the
do
club.
have 2 empty board seats.
I mean, he's also said that he's a big fan of he's still a fan of Arsenal too. So
Yeah, huge. And when I was there for his farewell when he was playing against when he was managing against Burnley. He said he would see us. He said he would be back. You know what I mean? And it was great to see Arsene Wenger back. We're riding the crest of a wave right now. We have to enjoy this. 7 points clear of Newcastle, even though they look dangerous, and 8 points clear of City. Let's see what City can do on Wednesday. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back on Thursday night with a more considered, and when we think about this game more, we'll talk
I thought
more
you were
about.
to keep us to an hour, right? What happened?
Yeah, I know that never happened. So I told Stan it would be an hour and a half.
I even disappeared for 24 minutes.
come on.
We were worried about you, Tony, but we thought you would come back to us as well.
I have a doorbell ring. I had to take care of some business.
Come back and see us for the Thursday night forum. We'll talk about this game and the games coming up. But more imminently, go see Alonso and Tony in about 45 minutes from now over on Gary's.
It's not about 45 minutes. He's on time all the time, right?
No, he's not on time all the time. I can guarantee you that.
You are correct.
At least I own it, but you are not always on time over on DWTT, the trip or the road trip or whatever
Do
you
you know
want.
what happened? Do you know what happened Saturday?
Huh?
I was sitting there waiting like 10 minutes for Gary and Tom, and I accidentally clicked the link that he sent me last Saturday, not that Saturday.
All right. Thanks for watching,
I'm
everybody.
like, where are you guys at?
We're out of here.
Live. I'm like, fuck.
Take care. See you, Tony. See you, Alonso, until Thursday. Thank you, Gary.
All right.
Thank you, Stan, and thank you, everyone, for watching.
And I'll say good evening, so it won't be good.
Say good
night.
evening, Tony. We're out of here.
Good evening.
Bye, guys.
Arsenal win hammer home the advantage against West Ham. 3-1 win. Take care, everyone. The long outro.